Hey y'all, and welcome to Storytime Around the Fire Table. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about the difference between horns and antlers before we get into the story, and you'll understand why as soon as I get into it. So antlers, typically on deer, moose, elk, things like that, are composed primarily of bone. They are bone. A lot of calcium goes into growing those bones, and it's the fastest known growing tissue. They shed their antlers every year and regrow them. Moose have been known to grow up to over a pound of bone of antler a day. That's just unbelievable how fast it grows. Horns, on the other hand, and y'all can get on to me for mispronouncing it. Just simple country boys, don't be too hard. But horns are comprised of keratin, which is also found in your hair and your fingernails. Where antlers grow under a sheath of velvet or live skin-like tissue is how the antlers are formed. Horns are the opposite. Horns grow over a bone core, and horns are never shed. Horns are on animals such as cattle and bison, your African species, kudu, gemsbok, oryx, and stuff like that. Those all have horns. They're not antlers. Another distinctive difference is all but one species of horned animals have no branched horns. Their horns don't branch off like an antler does. An antler will have branches, many points, and horns don't. The only animal that is horned that has a branched horn is a pronghorn. The other unique difference is, or the other unique quality about the pronghorn, is it is the only horned animal that sheds its horns and regrows it every year, just like an antler. Kind of crazy. Anyway, so now that you understand the difference between antlers and horns, which I'm sure most of y'all already knew, this little story is about a Texas water buffalo. So if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a cross species, I guess you would say. Their horns are kind of curved, kind of like a Cape buffalo, but not near as big. And they're not like straight out like an Australian buffalo, but it's a Texas water buffalo. And I was working with a guide from my hometown that had several ranches up in the Texas Hill Country where he would run hunters, and I was working with him and would help him with larger groups that he had come in, and I would go and help him guide. Anyway, one of the ranches had bison and water buffalo and all kind of exotics, but they had those two big species on there. And so we guided hunters with those, as well as axis and fallow and sheep and you name it. So the ranch calls one day and says, I got a puppy dog down here wants up here. He wants little bear wants to come and say hi. So the ranch calls up one day and says, hey, we got a water buffalo that has shed has knocked off one of his horn sheaths, and it's just a bone sticking out. And because of this, I mean, you know, it's bound to have hurt. For one, not supposed to come off. They had found the piece, you know, the sheath, the outer part of the horn. They had found it, but because of this injury, this water buffalo had gotten really, really aggressive, and you know, towards, you know, people and towards vehicles and towards other animals and stuff like that. So they needed him gone, and for safety reasons primarily, they needed him out of there. And so they offered him to us at a really, really low discount price. So my buddy calls me up and says, "Hey, you know, you want to go shoot a water buffalo?" I'm like, "Let's go." So he knew, of course, that I was going to want to shoot it with my bow. Back then, I didn't do hardly any gun hunting at all. I was hardcore bow hunter. Still am to most, you know, for the most part. But there's a time and place to hunt with a rifle. I love hunting coyotes, so, you know, deer management, stuff like that. When you got to go into a place, you know, deer management, and shoot 10 does or 100 does or something like that and stuff, you take a gun. But you know, primarily I'm a bow hunter. I live it, breathe it, love it. And more so back then than I do now. I don't have near as much time as I used to have. Changing career choices eliminated a lot of possibilities for me, not monetarily, but just time-wise. Anyway, so we get this call about this water buffalo, make a deal with them. We pack up and leave that night. I mean, they need him gone tomorrow. They want him off the ranch tomorrow. We pack up, head up there that night. So we get up there, spend the night, get up the next morning, and you know, y'all can pick fun of me, you know, tell me it wasn't ethical, whatever. This was, we need to get this buffalo gone. We need him off the ranch, whatever it takes. So I wanted to shoot him with a bow, so we did what we had to do to make that happen. And so what happened was, we found these water buffalo, and they were in a really big clearing. They were, you know, very, very few trees around, real sparse, real hard to like pull a stalk. You're not gonna, and he's already aggressive as it is now, according to the landowner. So it's not like I want to, you know, get out there and just try to walk up close enough to shoot him with this bow. So, you know, if he'd have been in the trees or something like that, might have been a little different story. But you know, he's out in the open. You know, I care about my safety too. So my buddy had a brand new Chevrolet Avalanche, and it had that bed cover over the bed of that truck. So I get out and I get on the back top of that truck, on the back of that truck, and you know, my buddy's hanging out the window with a rifle, and you know, he's threatening to shoot this thing. If he charges my truck, I'm gonna shoot him. All that kind of stuff. And I'm like, just ease up there, you know. So anyway, we eased around that herd until we got him to where he wasn't with, or you know, right next to any other ones or whatever, kind of singled out, and luckily broadside, perfectly broadside. And you know, I'm shooting 70 pounds. I'm shooting a heavy aluminum arrow, 2317 aluminum arrow with a 140 grain 4-blade Muzzy broadhead. And I've killed lots and lots and lots of stuff with that setup. Very, very powerful, very deep penetrating. Shot a lot of big hogs and stuff with that, with no issues whatsoever. So I didn't figure we'd have an issue with this water buffalo. Now, granted, you got to understand something. This water buffalo, they might not have that big thick shield on them like a big hog does or something and stuff. But this water buffalo was about 1,800 pounds on the hoof. I mean, we're talking about a big animal, way bigger than an elk. Um, weight wise, he's big, and you'll see when I show you the picture. I'll put a picture up here in a minute. You'll see. Anyway, so I'm on the back of the truck, and we get him singled out. You get him broadside, and he's about 25 yards, which is about my limit on shooting animals. But he's so big, it's like, you know. And it's not like he's going to duck the arrow or move or anything and stuff before it gets there. So anyway, my buddy's, you know, he's going, shoot him, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know. So anyway, so I put an arrow in him, tight behind the shoulder, about mid-body. Definitely a good double lung shot. And this buffalo runs about 30 yards or so and stops. Basically, he runs through the herd, round to the other side, and stops. When he did, he turned around. So when we drove around, he was facing the other direction from the way he was facing when I shot him. And first thing I noticed was my arrow wasn't sticking out the other side. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to shoot him again, you know, just because I have the opportunity and we don't need him getting mad. So I put another one in him from the opposite side and buried it to the fletch just like the other one. And those arrows inside that buffalo were about 1.5 inches apart, just like that. And come and find out, when we looked closer, the first arrow one of the arrows had went between the ribs, but had dead center punched a rib on the opposite side. That's the reason it didn't get full penetration or didn't go all the way through. The other arrow had dead center punched a rib going in. And so it was almost all the way through on the other side also, but not all the way. But anyway, I got a hold on both sides of him. And, you know, this whole thing, from the first shot till he collapsed, was less than a minute. It all happened really, really fast. And, you know, he was put down as ethically as we could put him down. And, you know, a lot of times that's just what you need to do. You know, you can call it a mercy killing or a safety killing or whatever you want. But, you know, we did it as best we could. And it was cool. You know, I got to shoot a really, really big animal with a bow that most people don't get to do. And wait till you see the picture. I'll put a picture up in a second. Anyway, really, really nice animal. And, you know, as soon as he hit the ground, we got on the phone. We called the processor. The processor shows up with a low boy trailer, 16-foot low boy trailer with a winch, and field dressed him. And after all the pictures and everything, we got him field dressed and got him pulled up on the trailer, and they took off. About a month later, they called up and said, hey, you know, we got all your meat ready off that buffalo. And so I drove up and picked it up, and I should have took a bigger truck. It was a lot of meat. But the one thing that I should have done that I didn't know, I should have had more steaks cut out of that water buffalo. I ended up with over 600 pounds of hamburger meat, and I don't know how many hundreds of pounds of steaks, a couple hundred pounds of steaks at least. But I should have had more steaks cut, because I'm going to tell you, that is the best table fare you'll ever eat. Better than any beef I've ever eaten, including Wagyu. Better than Wagyu, in my opinion. Better than nilgai, better than axis deer, better than whitetail, better than elk, better than moose, better than anything I've ever eaten. And I've eaten stuff from Africa I've eaten kudu, and it is better meat than anything I've ever eaten. That water buffalo was that good, and I kicked myself for not getting as many steaks as what I should, and for giving some steaks away. But lesson learned. Hopefully one of these days, maybe I get to shoot another one or something. You never know. But anyway, so here's a picture of the water buffalo. Y'all check that out, and you can see just how big this critter is. It's unbelievable how big they are, and luckily we got the other horn sheath and was able to do something with him. So anyway, heck of a hunt. Hope y'all learned something. Y'all have a good night.